Morning everybody from soggy Islamorada, Florida. We drove all night to get down here. We were at the Lakeland Big Buck Expo. I just want to say hey to everybody we met and all the new subscribers we got. We greatly appreciate it. So like I said, we got in about 12:30, 1 o'clock. We brought the rain with us. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is soggy. We just had a nasty storm come through. So we're gonna try to run out to our little spot in between storms here. Like we said, when we're in the Keys, there's no better time to fish than when you're in the Keys, so we got no choice. I've got a couple poles here. I'm gonna put some new line on. I've just been so busy, I haven't even had time to do that. So I got one that's got some old line. I'll probably strip it off, and I got a new one. I'll put it on here in a second. So like I said, we got a little bit calm before the storm. And right behind me, we got the smoker going. I'll show y'all what we got on that for dinner tonight. Some brisket right from the farm. Those bad boys have been on there since, shoot, I got in, my dad put them on at 2 or 3. I came out here, he was already stoking them at 5 in the soaking rain. So yeah, we're gonna see. I don't know. All right, so as I said before, we got to reline these poles. Went and bought me a Shimano. I do Flugers and Shimanos. I'm gonna actually hook up this Fluger rod. I've got a Fluger, I think it's a 4000. So we run braid on all these. So with the braid here, we put about 150 to 200 yards of 20 pound. I like to use 20 pound braid. It's the same diameter, I think, as like 12 pound mono. So you get the, you can get a lot of line on there, but you still get a lot of that feel and that strength of the braid. Braid can be a pain, you get some knots in it, but it's worth it, especially when you're doing some bottom fishing. Like I said, we're gonna be snapper fishing, so you can really feel that bite when they bite and get a good hook set on it. There's no line stretch, you know, so you can get that good hook set, and these fish have hard mouths. So anyway, super simple, right? Right there. This rod I actually got, we were fishing in Mosquito Lagoon on the East Coast here, and I found it in the water. And the reel I had on it was a Fluger, and I had that thing probably 4 or 5 years after that. I took it apart, cleaned it real good. So they're good little reels. I mean, this reel here cost me like 60 bucks. There's no reason to go crazy. I know some guys that spend hundreds of dollars on their reels, but what for? If I dump it off the boat, right? So these things will hold a ton of line, but Power Pro is expensive, and you really don't need all that line unless you hook a real big fish. But most of the time, we're not going to have a fish that's going to run out hundreds of yards of drag, right? So we're going to back it. I've got some 10 pound simple mono. So I'm going to run that through here. I'm going to tie it on. We're going to run it probably a good quarter, well, actually I'd say a third of the reel. Once that's on there, I'm going to show you all how to tie a knot. We'll hook it up, and then I run it through, and then that way we'll have our braid on there. Save us a little time. Just make sure you have the bail open when you tie it on. Can't tell you how many times I've done it where the bail isn't open. Alright, so I know you really can't see it there, but I've got my mono tied on. Cut the little tail off. Close that spool up. Like I said, I'm going to run about a third of it on there. Nice and easy. I run it through that first eyelet. It just makes it a little easier than having to run it through all of them. Alright, so got about a third on there, maybe a little less. The other good thing too about not having to use all your mono when you, or your Power Pro or any of your braid, if you tie it directly to it, it can slip on the spool because it's such a slick material. So when we first started using it, we really didn't know how to do this, and that's kind of what we did a couple times, and it'll definitely slip on your spool. So, like I said, I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to tie, it's a simple knot. I'll show you how to tie that knot later in another video here, but we'll tie it just the mono to braid. We'll run the rest on there. There you go. 20-pound Power Pro. So, what I'm doing now, tie my mono to my braid. Like I said, I'm going to do another quick little video, show y'all how I do this knot. It's pretty simple. I'll get a little wet, it's a little tight. And now we got, I don't know if you can even see that thing. Yeah, I can see it not in front of my face. Simple as that. With this stuff, you want to hold good tension when you're putting it on. I just use my finger. It gets a little hot when you're running it real fast, but there's really no other good way to do it. It had to be super tight. And it's going to take some time too to get it tensioned up, so like I said, just sit there and reel. I've already used this, we should about half left, so I'm going to run this whole spool of Power Pro out. I like to use this yellow high vis, especially when we're fishing with live bait or anything like that. Even when I'm jig fishing, I still like to use it, but it helps because you can see it, you get a good visual, you can kind of watch the line bouncing, see where your line's at when you're fishing with other people too. Alright, just like that, we ran it out. There you go, spooled up. I usually run a little more on there, but since we're fishing for snapper here, I don't plan on them pulling a whole lot of drag. We're going to be fishing probably 20-30 yards behind the boat, so I've got plenty on here for that. There's no sense in throwing this spool away. Like I said, I've already spooled up one whole pole, so there's no sense in throwing this one away. And of course, as I sit, it's raining again, so this is a good time to get all your poles checked and everything. You don't want to get out there and realize, hey, you need to do something. You need to tie some new line. You need to put a new leader on. So whenever I go out, I always like to put a new leader on. I check, the hook. If the hook's good, I'll keep the hook. But so, like I said, we're going to put a new leader on here. I'll probably run 3 foot of leader, probably a 25-pound fluorocarbon. That way the fish can't see it as well. It's a lot tougher when you're fishing for these snapper down here in structure. They get in the rocks, even their gill plates are sharp, so they got super sharp teeth. There's lots of things that can cut you off. So I'm gonna go ahead and tie that up. We're gonna be ready to go as soon as this rain gets by here. We're gonna head on out.